I think we're live here. Good evening, everybody. Nice to see you. If you're on, give me a hello somewhere in the comments or the chats, however you want to do that. And then let's get started here. You'll see me on the Reclaim Your Life coaching page and on the group, so please answer in either one, but I will only be able to see one of the messaging streams. So anyway, say hi if you're here. Hit hashtag replay if you're watching the replay. Today I want to talk about holiday stress because we have the holiday Valentine's Day coming up, and I know for many people that is a very stressful holiday. Many people see that as a very difficult day for good reasons. If you love the holiday and you're stuck at home or in quarantine or separated from loved ones, that can be very stressful. If you're one of those who absolutely hate this holiday and are forced to endure at least a week of all the things that come up to it, well, that can be really stressful too. For others, it's stressful because they've lost a loved one, whether it's through death or divorce or separation of some kind that has created a rift in the relationship. That can be very stressful going through holidays that are normally considered very much family and partner and relationship-based holidays. For those who wish they had a relationship and don't, it can also be very stressful because it brings up all the things that they're missing and wish they had and didn't. So no matter what your situation is, you're probably not very happy that Valentine's Day is coming. And yet there are others who have a loving relationship and want to celebrate it, and that should be good too. The problem is it's difficult for so many, and we want to look at how you can get through this holiday as well as pretty much any other holiday, because really the coping mechanisms are the same whether you're facing this one or a different one. So holidays in general, but this particular one can bring out a lot of grief and anger, can bring out a lot of sadness and depression. So what are some coping tools to deal with that? One of the things I think we want to remember is that because other people are celebrating their relationship, and for them it is a wonderful holiday, a celebration of their love and good relationship, they shouldn't have to hide that and not do it because it makes somebody else feel bad. And remember that how you feel about it is your responsibility, not theirs. How you respond to it talks about what's going on for you, not them. And so we should be able to see this holiday or any holiday, see those relationships, see those celebrations, and even though they don't have the same meaning for us and may bring up other things, we recognize that that's our stuff around it. And be able to maintain a neutral or even a congratulatory presence to the others for whom it is a relative holiday, and for others for whom it is a valid celebration. And we want to look at what do we do to help us maintain that calm, peaceful, maybe even fun part to a holiday that we don't particularly want to celebrate, or ways to not celebrate it without feeling bad about not celebrating it. So these apply to all holidays, but particularly this holiday, since we're talking about Valentine's Day right now. I think the most important thing you can do is acknowledge your feelings. It's okay if you're sad. It's okay if you're angry. It's okay if you're going through grief right now. It's okay to take time to cry. It's okay to express your feelings in a productive way. Yelling and ranting and screaming at somebody else doesn't make you feel any better. There are productive ways to express those feelings, and that's what you need to look at. But on the other hand, you can't force yourself to be happy when you're not. You can't force yourself to be happy just because it's a holiday. But you don't have to let the holiday make it worse, and you don't have to express it in ways that make other people feel bad in the process. So there's a balance there between dealing with your own emotions in an appropriate way, recognizing what your emotions and feelings are and acknowledging them, and doing something appropriate with them rather than just feeling bad or being angry or being mad or whatever, or being sad or whatever would normally be your process. There are ways to deal with that, and that's an important thing to deal with. for women who are in our coaching program, we spend a lot of time and a lot of energy balancing and a lot of energy tools that help people learn how to bring those things up to the surface, recognize them, remove the stress from them, and let them go. It's kind of like some memories, particularly, in the extreme PTSD kinds of stuff, the memory is if you are still right in it. You see something, or you hear something, or you smell something, or you see the sign, or you see the hearts everywhere, and it's like you're right back into that, as if you were living it now. And that's not really the way a memory is supposed to work. As memories pass, they're supposed to fade into the past. And once the stress is relieved from them, removed from them, they will do that. They will recede into the past, and you'll recognize, yes, that happened, but the electrical and the emotional charge can be taken out of it. And that's where we think the coaching with the energy medicine is so, so important, because it helps us to acknowledge our feelings and deal with them in a constructive way, so that other people's activities don't trigger us in the same way. So, the second thing, and I know this is going to sound a little trite, but it really actually is quite important, reach out to your community, whether that is a social community or a faith-based community or a sports team that you're in, or a other family members who may share things, or your Facebook group that you've got a bunch of buddies in. Find some kind of a community and reach out to them. Just feeling lonely and isolated is not really helpful. So seek out some contacts, whether it's one-on-one or whether it's doing some kind of a social activity together, or whether it's whatever. Many organizations have moved online now. Their meetings are online, and you can access their services online, particularly if alcohol or drugs are a problem. Holiday seasons tend to make those worse. The stress of holidays tend to cause a problem with those. And reach out to people, your sponsors, your AA meeting, your 12 Victory Steps meeting, whichever one you're involved with. But don't just sit home and let yourself fall into bad habits. Reach out to somebody, talk to somebody. Even if it's an emergency phone line where you can talk to a volunteer you don't know. But don't just sit home lonely and isolated. Seek help and contact if you need it. Talk to somebody. I have a friend whose husband serves away from home for his job a lot of the time, and she has a little group set up where she can put out a message to a group of friends and say, hey, can somebody call me? I need to talk to somebody today. And people take turns talking to her, and she will do it for others. When they say it, she'll call them and talk to others. And it's really important that we build these kinds of community strategies in times that aren't highly stressful, so that when we are in a stressful period like a holiday that can be triggering for a lot of reasons, that we have a network of contacts and community that we can reach out to and will enable us to get through it properly. Third thing, be realistic. Most holidays are not perfect, no matter how much we like to remember them that way. It doesn't have to be like last year. It doesn't have to be the way in your dreams it always was. Most of the time, our memories and our dreams about what a holiday should look like or be set us up for expectations that just are not achievable. So be realistic and, do the things you like. Don't do the things you don't like. Enjoy the parts you want to celebrate. Don't do the parts you don't want to do. Create some new traditions. Do something spontaneous. In this last year, many of us have learned that Zoom parties and Facebook parties and sharing craft nights together and doing watch parties and a movie together, we found ways to get through things that we wouldn't have had before. Well, those are particularly good strategies going into a holiday. But be realistic that it doesn't need to be the same way it's always been. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't have to be absolutely the way your dream is that it should happen. Enjoy what does happen. Be present in the moment. Enjoy what's there, and make whatever's there joyful and happy and celebratory, because you're there. The people you want to be with are hopefully there. Or people even you don't like are there, but you're getting along with them for some strange reason because you're being happy regardless. But be realistic. It doesn't need to be, storybook to be a great holiday. Use technology to your advantage. We have said that so many times. If you really don't feel up to going and being at something, check in with them on Zoom for a few minutes and then excuse yourself. Or rather than isolate yourself entirely, join a party by Zoom or by FaceTime or whatever. And remember, those of you who are really enjoying the holiday, reach out to people who might not be via Zoom, via video, via whatever, and just at least say hello, chat with them for a few minutes, give them some time and attention. Treat them like equals and friends, because they are. But don't just assume that, oh well, they're not in a relationship, so this holiday isn't for them. You don't know what kind of history they've got there. Give them a call and talk to them. It's 5 minutes out of your day. Use technology to your advantage to take care of people, to let others take care of you, for you to take care of others. I'm not usually big on caretaking, but in these kind of situations, a check-in, a moment of compassion, a reaching out, and extending friendship is a really important thing to do. 5, remember that holidays are a really bad time to air your grievances and discuss your differences. You need to set those aside for this holiday. Yes, they do need to be addressed. Yes, they do need to be talked through. Yes, there are issues that must be solved. But at a holiday meeting or at a dinner or a family gathering or a whatever it is, probably not the best time to do that. When you go to these kinds of things, you simply want to accept people for who they are and what they are. And recognize that sometimes they're just damaged people. Sometimes they're broken people. Sometimes they're immature people. Everybody's got their story. Everybody's got their hurts. Everybody's got their pain. And holidays and gatherings tend to bring that out. So simply give them some space. Give them some grace. Set aside the grievances until a more appropriate time. Be understanding when somebody else gets upset or distressed. Just don't buy into their story. Just step back and be neutral and recognize that that's their issue and their problem, and you don't need to take it on. They may be aiming it at you, and you still don't need to take it on. It's okay to just let it water off the duck's back. It's okay to just ignore it and walk away. The old saying is, it takes two to fight, and it might take a lot of biting your tongue not to do it, but for your own benefit, for your own heart, just set aside those grievances and those differences and recognize that, you know what, this is not the time and place to deal with them. And then set up a time and place to deal with it appropriately. Chances are everybody in the room is feeling the effects of the holiday stress. Many of them are feeling the depression. Many of them are feeling the unsettledness of what's going on. And then you put it in a group on top of that, and it's just not going to go well. You're not going to achieve the kind of ends that you want to achieve. And simply yelling and screaming or making them feel bad and leaving everybody in tears doesn't benefit anyone. And so agree to just set aside your differences and your grievances for the holiday period and then deal with them appropriately afterwards. When there are gifts involved, you need to agree to a budget and stick to it. Figure out what you can afford to spend. Figure out what the group wants to spend for each other and use consideration for everyone. And if an amount is set, stick to the amount. Don't be the guy who, everybody says they're not going to spend more than $50 a person, and then you come in with gifts that are, $250 and make everybody else look bad. Make sure that the gift giving is about the relationship, about the feeling, about the sentiment, not about the dollar value. So get people to agree to a budget and everybody stick to it. Take the time to figure out thoughtful gifts. It's not about how much you spend, it's about what you're doing with it. In some cases, donating to a charity may be a great way to deal with it for them. In other cases, consider handmade gifts or gifts of time. That's actually one of my favorite, is gifts of time, where people will, instead of bringing me a gift or sending me a gift, we agree to go and do something together, or have a coffee together, or go for a walk together, or do something. So financial issues, financial pressures, and gift giving is one of the biggest stressors in all holidays, not just Christmas, even in Valentine's. The gift giving part of it, and how much are you spending, and what are you buying, and how are you impressing them with it. Gifts are not about impressing people. Gifts are about expressing a relationship and saying thank you to people for their friendship and for the relationship and for the love that is shared between them. So make sure it's not about the money, because that's a sure sign that that relationship is in trouble. 7, make time for yourself. Find an activity you like and go and do it. Take a break by yourself. If you're busy preparing for a holiday or busy, you're going to go out for some big fancy dinner on Valentine's Day, plan in your afternoon 15 to 30 minutes prior where you can rest and relax, do some deep breathing, maybe do some yoga, do some meditation, do something to calm yourself so that when you get into the more stressful situation, which you're going to, because the expectations are rather high on those kinds of events, and that creates stress, do something to lower your stress level before you go so that you can go into it at a lower level. Because if you go into it already jangled, already tired, already stressed, and then the slightest little thing goes wrong, you're likely to fall apart, as opposed to if you go into it, you spent half an hour, you've had a rest, you've done some meditation, you've done some whatever, you've had a good hot long shower, whatever you need to do to relax and rest yourself. When something little goes wrong, you go, oh, it's too bad, but it's okay, don't worry about it. And that is the difference between being right on the edge of overstimulated, overstressed, overwhelmed, and giving yourself some space. So make some time for yourself, give yourself some space. Even if you just sit in a quiet room and do some deep breathing exercises, that will listen to some calm music, do something to get yourself grounded and centered, calm down, relaxed, so that you're not on that edge when you go into the party. And don't abandon your healthy habits. Just because it's a holiday doesn't mean it should be a free-for-all. Overindulgence adds to stress and adds to guilt and adds to blow-ups in parties and relationships. So try to maintain a relative amount of healthy eating and meals. Don't overindulge and make yourself bloated and sick. Get enough sleep. Get some regular exercise into your routine. Instead of watching a movie, suggest going for a walk. Now I realize those of you who are in Canada at the moment and it's 35 below, you're not going to go for a walk, but you could do something else than just vegetate. So don't abandon your healthy habits. Be careful about the consuming alcohol and other things. Those add to the stress of events. Keep the best of your habits. A little treat here, a treat there, a little bit extra here, a little bit extra there. Not a big deal. Overindulge in everything, and afterwards you'll feel guilty and angry at yourself and not worth it. So keep what you can of your healthy habits and allow appropriate treats and changes to be made over the holiday period. And learn to recognize what your stress triggers and your stress relievers are. Obviously, as we talked before, financial pressures are huge. Personal demands are one of the most common ones, where people's expectations and obligations on each other create huge stresses. And if you know that those kind of expectations and obligations create stresses for you and are stress triggers, figure out a way to deal with it before you get there so you have a plan. Deal with, or figure out how to not go if that's the best way for you to deal with it. their expectation of you being there, or their expectation of you acting in a certain way while you're there, or their obligation of you to do particular things or be a particular way, does not constitute the need for you to do it. Those are their expectations and obligations, and they're welcome to them. Does not mean that they are your master and can make you do them. So recognize those things that create triggers for you, and have a plan to deal with it. And have a plan for how to relieve the stress. If you know that a certain person in a particular family grouping always causes you stress, get a buddy plan with somebody else and figure out a way to stay away from that person and avoid them, and have a buddy system to help you. Be careful about falling into very bad habits. Those kinds of stressful situations can cause you to increase your smoking, increase your drinking, increase your drugs, increase your eating. All of those things will make you feel guilty and therefore react more. They'll make you feel bad about yourself and therefore react more, and will not help the problem. So have a plan on how to deal with all those things. Have a buddy to help you with them, or simply say, you know what, guys, I'm not coming this year. I have other things I need to be responsible for, meaning yourself, and simply say, I'm sorry, not coming. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to give an excuse. You don't have to lie to them about why you don't want to be there. You can simply say, I'm sorry, I'm not coming. And end of story. You don't have to defend yourself. And that's really the last point here, point 10, learn to say no. Saying yes when you really feel you should say no will just leave you feeling resentful and overwhelmed. You simply do not need to participate in everything. You do not need to meet everyone else's expectations. You do not need to meet everyone else's priorities. You do not need to meet everyone else's supposed obligations that you need to do this for them so that they can be happy. No, you don't. You are responsible for your happiness. You are responsible to contribute to the peaceful and calm interaction of people in a party. You are not responsible to make someone else happy. And they need to get over that if that's what they're doing, because your right is to say, no, I'm not participating. Choose things that will make you feel happy. Choose to participate in those parts that you will enjoy, and simply say no to the rest. You can simply say, I won't be attending. And if they get really pushy and won't take no for an answer, you simply say, I have personal things I need to attend to. I won't be there. Goodbye, and walk away. The walk away is the critical part. Or if you need to, you hang out. But no is the answer, and don't let them push you. You have reasons for not being there, and if you realize that all of the other situation is going to become a situation that you don't want to participate in, and you don't want to be guilted into, then you simply say, no, I'm sorry, I can't be there. And so as we approach this Valentine's, I want to think, what are you going to do for your Valentine? Your truest Valentine. That's you, yourself. You are your Valentine. You are the one that you need to treat with self-respect, with self-love, that you need to shower love onto. Yes, you might do it to someone else too, but you need to do it yourself. You need to do what's right for you. Treat yourself to something special if you like. Work on these 10 tips to survive the holiday with calm and fun. Enjoy the holiday at whatever level of celebration that you want, or don't celebrate it at all. It's about you. If this is not something that's going to make you feel happy and enjoy, and you can't figure out some way to do that, if there isn't some alternative experience that you can have that would provide you a way to enjoy that day, then simply walk away. You're allowed to do that. It's okay. And if you're bothered by all of the social media everywhere, the advertising, the hearts everywhere, the chocolates everywhere, the constant demands of, love, 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 turn off your TV, turn off your internet, turn off your Facebook. Just detox for a few days. Walk away. After it's all over, come back and everybody will be just fine and you won't have missed a thing. Don't do things because someone else expects you to, or because everybody else is. Put your happiness and your wellness first. It's like on the airplanes where they say, if an oxygen mask drops down, put your own mask on first and then help those around you. Well, it's kind of the same here. In a situation where something stressful is going on, help yourself first and then help those around you. If you're not in a calm, peaceful, happy, relaxed place, then you can't be that with the other people. So take care of yourself, put your happiness and wellness first. And those are key attitudes that we cultivate in the Reclaim Your Life coaching program all the way through the 6 months. And next week, we're doing a special 4-day live class on say no to make room for yes. As in, say no to the expectations of other people in order to say yes for what you want. Say no to those things that are not right for you to make room for the things that are right for you, and a whole lot more. Join us as we explore how to say no and how that actually makes your life better, even on holiday. The registration is in the links. The live class will be in our Reclaim the Life Facebook group, so be sure you're a member in there, you're hooked up in there. Invite your friends, because I think this is going to be key for many, many people. And go and love yourself and take care of yourself this week. Thanks, everybody.